Hey, how's it going? Let's talk about monkeys. So there's this subset of monkeys that exist called the Great Apes, also known as hominids, which consist of gorillas, orangutans, bonobos, chimpanzees, and Homo sapiens. Hey, that's us. Now, the interesting thing about Great Apes is because they are so evolutionarily close, they share a whole awful lot in common with us. In fact, 96% of our DNA sequence is identical to that of chimpanzees. And that similarity is readily apparent. I mean, they kind of look like us, especially when you put them in a little tuxedo. God, I love the little tuxedo. They can also walk like us, and it turns out they can talk like us. Sort of. Our story begins in 1950 with a chimpanzee baby named Vicky. Vicky was raised side by side with a human baby on the hypothesis that if a chimpanzee was raised with constant exposure to language, the same way the human baby is, it would eventually develop language itself. This was later discovered to be an elaborate ploy to see what a chimpanzee baby would look like in a diaper. Ah, so cute. By the end of the experiment, Vicky could only speak 4 words: mama, papa, cup, and up, and even those had a thick chimpanzee accent, so it sounded more like this. Okay, I'm sorry, this video is way too cute right now, we're gonna have to balance it out. Okay, that worked. Now, had I been alive at the time, I would have been like, that's awesome, monkeys can talk! But apparently researchers at the time were more like, oh, you're so stupid. I told you monkeys can't talk. Everyone in the past had mustaches. Fun fact. So for the next 17 years, everyone just kind of assumed that great apes were incapable of higher language skills. That is until 1967 when Alan and Beatrix Gardner decided to try and teach a chimp named Washoe. It turned out that the problem with teaching Vicky to speak had nothing to do with her intelligence, but rather was because chimpanzee vocal cords just aren't capable of making the same range of sounds that we are. So the Gardners came up with an ingenious solution. They decided to teach Washoe sign language. Without the limitation of anatomy, Washoe was able to learn over 350 words of sign language. We could totally talk to monkeys! Ah! Moreover, Washoe was able to invent or combine words in unique ways for things she did not know. For instance, the first time she saw a duck, she signed the words water and bird or water bird, effectively creating a name for the duck. Washoe was inventing language. One of the best instances of this is when Lucy, one of the other chimps in the same program as Washoe, signed to her trainer in annoyance, "You green poop!" Except she didn't say poop. She said the other word. You bet I keep it PG. But seriously, is there anything more human than learning to swear in a new language? I can swear in more languages than I can say hello. Turns out that's the kind of person I am. Following the success of Washoe, a number of other similar experiments were tried, including a chimpanzee called Nim Chimpsky, God I love that name, an orangutan named Chontek, and a gorilla named Coco. Now Coco was sort of an unfortunate blemish on the field. Coco seemed extremely promising, learning a vocabulary of over 1,000 words, and there were all these sensational claims about Coco's intelligence and empathy and capacity to feel very human emotions, but it turned out a lot of the claims made about Coco were simply not true, and there was a lot of bad science involved, and it erupted into something of a scandal. As an unfortunate result of that, since Coco, the number of programs and experiments on great ape language have dropped off dramatically as people became discouraged in apes' ability to learn non-trivial language. God, do your science right or you ruin everything! Luckily, some programs continue, and the results are exciting as ever. 2 bonobos, a brother and sister named Kanzi and Panvanisha, are being taught language through special speech boards which have various preset words on them. Both Kanzi and Panvanisha are able to understand a wide array of spoken words and converse back using their little keyboards. It's kind of like the internet. Beyond just speech, Kanzi is able to perform tasks with an extremely high level of sophistication, like building a fire and making a knife out of stones and playing Pac-Man. I can't even play Pac-Man. In fact, in a number of tests involving memory and pattern recognition, chimpanzees and bonobos blow humans out of the water. It's not even close. It's so clear that all great apes are highly intelligent creatures, at least on the level of children in nearly every regard, and in many cases besting adult humans in certain types of intelligence. Which, I should note, raises a whole lot of interesting questions about what sorts of rights and protections they should have and how we should treat them moving forward. We spend so much time and energy dreaming of intelligent life among the stars, and don't get me wrong, the day we discover extraterrestrial life will be the most important day of our history, but I think it's important to remember that there is intelligent life outside of ourselves here on Earth as well. Apes are incredibly smart, resourceful, and creative, that much we know. The only thing that stands between us and them is our ability to communicate. Language is our way of connecting and relating all of what we know and who we are. If we can teach apes language, then there's no telling what else they can learn. I say let's find out.